be quite a big one. Hold on. You just press two buttons real quick. Well, not two, but a few. And one more. Actually, scratch that, make that two more. Okay, one more after this. Last time, I promise. Actually, I think this is like the first time I've actually shared something to this group in a long time. Let me just find it. Here it is. I had to share it to the group actually called House Hall. There's Tim. There's Tammy. Oh, where's that light thing? Because I figured it'd be, there it is. Figured it'd be a really good time to actually not blind myself. Actually talk about, and actually for me to revisit, mine pretty much the deity that's pretty much been the biggest part of my life and has played a significant role. And also stopped me from suicide. True story. And also kind of clarifying what the difference between an underworld deity or an underworld entity and an infernal entity, because they're not the same. Oh, and by the way, just to make things clear, hell is from the Norse, Nordic, Scandinavian traditional belief system. She's not Greek. And she is most definitely not infernal. In fact, that doesn't make any sense. So that way we have that clear. And this, like in the thumbnail, if you don't know, this is a handmade, hand sculpted, hand painted statue of hell. And I've had this, maybe turning very carefully. I've had it for just so that way, please kind of refrain from saying stuff like that, because this is actually very serious. I'm saying it nicely. But anyway, well, when it comes to people getting infernal and underworld mixed up, it's because they think that because something's underground that it's lit on fire, like if it's burning. And underworld deities, by stereotype, are attached to it. If that makes sense. I can understand why you can kind of see how it can possibly connect, but in reality, Helheim is not a burning abyss. In fact, it's like Earth. And Helheim is the area of the nine worlds where Hell has authority over. But even down in her realm of the dead, there are other sectors too, like Niflheim, which is a frozen lake, where people that are really damned, they go in there and they're stuck. But that being said, Hell. Believe it or not, she is probably, if not the most accepting, loving, and non-judgmental divine to exist. Literally, you could be Hitler himself, and she will not turn her back on him. I'm dead serious. Because she actually took it by oath that no matter who comes to her, regardless of how their life was, she won't turn them away. Oh, not you, Nightshade. No, 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 no. That didn't offend. No, it's just that someone else said something about assisting in suicide, which is no. That's not. That's not even a question that should be asked, because that's something that doesn't need to be even talked about. Because there's no need to assist in somebody's ending of their life prematurely. And being a suicide survivor myself, that was just not really called for. But anyway, what that was about. When it comes to like Helheim and her realm of the dead, shockingly, it's very similar to how Earth is in the dusk time. Pretty dark, and it's just like how Earth is while on dusk. It's essentially the place where those that, at least to according to the, excuse me, here. According to the Norse belief, the ones that die of old age, straw death, natural, or like pretty much the natural life cycle, and any kind of death that is not done in battle, they go to hell or Helheim. The ones that are slain in battle, if they're deemed worthy enough, they get rescued by Valkyries as Erinjar. However, though, a little not known fact about hell. Believe it or not, if hell wanted to, and being serious, if she wanted to, if somebody was killed on the battlefield and a Valkyrie was trying to take him up to Valhalla, all that hell would have to do is just pretty much go and just say, drop it. And then the Valkyrie would have to drop it. That's not the same hell that I'm talking about, so that way you know. That's not the same hell. I'm talking about this hell. Talking about the goddess hell. Not the hell that is fire and brimstone and suffering. Not that one. In fact, that one is actually based off of her. This hell. It's okay, Isabel, you didn't know. It's okay, you didn't know. See? You see? I'm not upset. You didn't know. That's the difference. Somebody who doesn't understand it probably would have gotten mad. But I understand that you didn't know. It's okay. All is forgiven. Anyway. Because originally hell, for example, this hell, she isn't the first hell. There was another hell before her. And when the original hell retired, she was the one who came in and took her place. But depending on how she was given the title of having dominion over the dead, it separates by into two ways. Two separate ways. There's option one, when Odin demanded Loki's children, Fenrir, I'm going to try and pronounce it. If I pronounce it wrong, I'm sorry. Fenrir, Jormungandr, and Hel. But for some reason, Loki's child horse, the one with the multiple legs, somehow that one doesn't get, wrathed on. And now Odin rides it. Okay, that's kind of different and odd that one gets spared the wrath. But nonetheless, when Odin approaches Hel, yes, completely different. And I'll be explaining that. So when Odin Allfather went to Hel and told her, look up at me, because she was ready to get whatever was going to come to her. So when she looked up and he saw that she looked like this, or there's also the original way of she was being depicted. If you notice, like on the dead side, it would have been pitch black. And then on the opposing light side, it would have been just revealed how it is. But when she looked up and Odin saw the dark side and everybody else, the other Asgardians, they were mortified except Odin. And essentially, this is where the story can split one of two ways. Option one, Odin grabs her by the throat and slams her down into Helheim, damning her there. And then she just takes on the title. And then she has rulership of the dead that way. And she just claims the dominion by default. Or option two, which I prefer to be this one because it kind of shows that maybe Allfather can be leading by example. He decides this. He decides to let her in to Asgard alongside the other divines. The other divines looked at Allfather Odin like, why are you going to let her in here? Simply put, all he said, she has divine blood, just like Thor does. And funny enough, she has the same blood structure as Thor, having both giant and divine blood. He has them both. Hel has the same thing. The exact same blood. The same combination of two bloods. However, unlike Thor, Hel is an example of when you mix two bloods and for some reason it does not mix as intended. Because you can see one side's alive, one side's dead. That's an indication that sometimes the animalistic and the lower level survival, because giants were usually seen as barbaric and pretty much of the 3D Earth survival instincts, and the divine, and the upper Asgardians were symbolizing things that are a little bit more moralistic, just, and you can kind of see how, at least in Hel's case, it can conflict. Mm-hmm. At least I hope so, Isabel, because I'm more focused on educating and trying to like give how it is, and then people can actually take it and actually use it for bettering themselves. But so as soon as Odin made his decision to let her in with everybody else, no matter who came towards her or no matter who she went towards, everybody up there just looked at her like, and they just backed away from her, and they just kept like moving away from her and just running away. Gave her dirty looks and did not even want to be anywhere near her. And after a while of that, she went to Allfather and just told him, I want out of this place. It sucks. Why do you want to leave Asgard, this beautiful place? Everybody judges me and doesn't even want me around just because of how I look. I want out of this place. So Odin just told her, come back tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll go from there. Next day, Hel appears before him again, and now she's given a choice. She can either stay That may be true, but believe it or not, Hel is actually neutral. She doesn't side with either side. She doesn't. She's not. I mean, she's trying to just come through and just save herself, but okay, fine. I don't have time for that crap. I have people I need to take care of. Don't make me be in that polarity crap. I don't have time for it. I don't. You think I have time to play Tinkerbell and Spawn of Flame? No, I don't have time for that. Hmm. Yeah, and she's actually trying to let me finish the tale. But when she was given the choice to stay up in Asgard or go or be given the underworld as in Helheim and all the worlds attached to it, she made the choice to go and take over Helheim. But she made a vow that she keeps to this day and hasn't broken it. No matter who she gets and whomever doesn't have a resting place, and if they're stuck on the earth, she will take them in if they choose to. Mm-hmm. I'm one of them. Mm-hmm. And I mean, believe me, when you're able to communicate and interact with her, if you make her mad, she will make you deaf. She will. Literally, I'm not even kidding. And if you're not used to her, if you're not used to her, she will completely kind of like scare you to a point where you kind of don't even want to even go anywhere near her again because it's just that terrifying. While I'm thinking about it, I'm going to share a picture that I took a while ago. Only if, well, you can advise them to, but you can't force them to. But now, say for an example, if you have a ancestral spirit or somebody who's passed away, if you have somebody like that harassing you, you can ask for Hell's help. She will handle it herself. She will take them by herself and then put them there in her place where she has dominion over. Because as I said, she doesn't turn anybody away. But at the same time, she doesn't put up with BS. She doesn't put up with it ever. And she's one of those that is point blank. And by point blank, meaning if you're doing something that is going to be harmful to yourself, and if you know it, and even if you don't know it, she will literally come to you and tell you, what is wrong with you? Like, why? You know, if you wanted to do something stupid, could have been something that's not going to get yourself killed. A good example. One day I wanted to figure on getting some flowers for her. So I go out front to like the front of the house that I was living at the time. And then I saw these flowers on a bush. And I figured to keep it simple, I'm just gonna pick those flowers and give them to her. Oops, that was a big mistake. Because what I happened to grab with my bare hands, mind you, I was grabbing oleander. Does anybody know what oleander is? By any chance, does anybody know what oleander is? Mm-hmm. Oleander is a plant that if you just simply touch it with your bare hands, you can get like, well, for one, it's poisonous, it's toxic. It is. Oleander is a poisonous, toxic plant. And if you touch it, you can get like, exactly. So I grabbed the bark bare, plucked the flowers off, walked over to her space in the house, put the flowers on her space, and then she just literally, I'm not even kidding, she shrieked as, oh my gosh, I'm like hearing it all in my head again. She literally shrieked, "Get these things off my space!" And I'm like, why? Like, why are you upset that I got you those? I mean, I'm just playing it all back in my head, and I'm remembering back then, like, wow, kid, why? Because back then, during it, I was not in a good spot while getting yelled at, but at the same time, looking back, I'm like, wow, I was stupid. Essentially, she was going on saying, why would I want something that you're getting yourself hurt for? You think I want something that you're going to risk your well-being for? No, I don't want that. Now, I'm going to show you a legit picture I took tonight. I was all by myself. I can't even make it. I cannot make it. I can't make it at all. But here, this is a picture I took one night all by myself in the house. Nobody else. And this is actually at the front door of the house inside. Now you tell me you cannot see it. Do you happen to see it? Because I do. There you go. Do you happen to see a figure? I hope you do. I'm just going to hold it up here for a little bit. Do you happen to see a figure? Yep. Okay, now hold that thought. Does the figure kind of look similar to this one? Does it kind of have a resemblance? I hope you can see it, because I can. Yep. Voila. There's Elle. Mm-hmm. And funny enough, this is just one picture of it. Because when I was... Whoops, let me get out of there. Because when I was looking at that, and I knew it was her. I already knew it was. But when I'm just... I took more than one picture, and look. Hold on. Make sure I know which... Okay, so... Same one. Maybe if that might... Actually, I think I got an idea. Hold on. Okay. That way, now let's try this way. There we go. Everybody see that? Doesn't that kind of look the same? Actually, I think... Yeah, this one's just with color. Like colored it. You happen to see it? Yep, even though it looks kind of scary. But yes. There's another one. People think that, this stuff doesn't exist, but I kind of beg to differ. And that one looks like she's actually like, yep. That one actually looks like she's reaching out and waving. I think I have one more somewhere. Oh, here we go. Okay. Now this one's unedited. This one has no edits except, you know, pretty much just making it a little bit brighter so that way you can see it just a little bit. And that's all I did with it, just make the brightness up a tiny bit. That way you can kind of see the difference. Do you see it? And that's unedited, except a little bit of brightness. Do you happen to see how it's perfectly split down the middle on my face? Like perfectly split down the middle. Yep. Like perfectly split right down the center. Clean split on the face. Yeah. She photobombed me. And if you also notice, like on the darker side here, pretty much on this side, like right here, you can actually see you can actually see hair that's a bit longer. Because on my hair only stops like right here. If you look over here, I'm trying to get it. You can kind of see how the hair goes a bit lower. I'm going to try and get it there. That one you can kind of see it a bit better, but yeah, there's my hair there. And there's, yeah. I can guarantee you and bet you, yeah, she does exist. And I mean, there are people that have told me that she doesn't exist, and I'm like, okay, but explain this. Explain it. Don't look at me. I don't know. I'm just showing you what's there. Kendra! Oh, God. I was just showing everybody the pictures of that I have of hell. I'm not sure if you've seen them before. Yes. And I come to realize too that it is that. I mean, I don't even know how to even put it because it does coincide pretty well because hell's the aspect that is where they this thing will hurry up and load. Yeah. Oh, like this one. The day when she photobombed me just perfectly right, and all that I did was just make it a little bit brighter to tell the difference. Like, I didn't even know how that happened. And that's the only thing I could say that she did. She was just like, oh, you're taking a selfie? Move over, kid. I had another one. Was it up there? Yeah, I think that's not it. Okay. Oh, there we go. Is it at? You know, come around any time now. But the reason why I was making this live because, well, for one, I needed to do a revisit with her. That and for some reason, there are some thoughts that there are. Oh, here we go. This one's probably not as good as the last one, but I don't know what that was, and there's usually nobody outside, but yeah. The eyes, though. that one. What else we have? Where are those other 4 I was just looking at? Okay, should be. Come on. Come on. Bloody thing. Okay, there we go. Yeah. It's kind of like, okay, if that doesn't, show that, she exists, well, I don't know what does. And I can understand how some people would think that she is part of the Inferno, but she's not really. To me, hell. I would have to say if hell would represent a moon phase, it would have to be, really, honestly, all of them. Because since the way that hell operates, when one, actually goes towards her, the way that she presents herself is depending on how do I put this? Essentially, she reflects back the true inner being of somebody's soul. So if somebody has a lot of unresolved issues and very deep stuff of trauma, like stuff that's you need to face in doing real shadow work, she will throw out the full-on dead to mortifying scary side. But when they start working towards it, it's like how the moon gets more full, if that makes sense. As the moon gets fuller, that's like somebody becoming more more accepting, and they finally accept the fact that it is what it is and they get past it. And as the light Malone I haven't really interacted with in a while, but as the moon gets more full, it's kind of like showing how now it's like a quarter moon, there's the half, like if it's when it's in the half phase of both, either or, like if it's waxing or waning, that's when you can kind of see the usual way that she's depicted, half dead and half alive. But when it's getting to the half phase, that can show like somebody's okay, now they're doing the shadow work, and now they're getting more over all that. And then when they become a full moon, or when the moon becomes full, that's when you can see hell like in her whole light side, like when she's completely out of the dark. But when the moon then starts to wane away back to the dark again, that's when someone gets going from that full moon of being fully secure and content to having some traumatic thing happen again, taking that stability, and it rolls back down to the dark moon, the new moon, where there's no sense of being full, if that makes sense. And that's the best I got, because since she is a goddess figure, and the goddess figure is usually always associated with the moon, unless if you're in Japan, then it's reversed. Then you have it be, for the sun, it's Amaterasu, and the moon, it's Tsunoki, her brother, and he's kind of cold. But at least that's what I would have to say, because I would say she would be all phases of the moon. In the dark, where it's just like her completely mortifying side being reflected back, because she is like a mirror. whatever you put, whatever you're feeling inwardly, she deflects it back to you as it is. If you're going towards her completely content and understanding that I'm letting go of this and I'm coming to terms with it, well, to me, and this is actually really a really test to somebody. If you really want to get really close to hell, like be really close, have a moment to actually like go towards her, even like simply having a statue or a picture like that, and just simply go to her, get into a meditative state, and then have the intention of saying, show me how you are as you are. Not deflecting anything back to me, but I want to see you for you. And I mean, I'm getting a little bit emotional saying that because that's hard to do. Because she came from a background where nobody wanted her. Nobody even liked looking at her. That's something that cannot be helped. But when you go towards her and you say, show me how you are for real. I don't care about how I am. I want to know how about you look. Because I can guarantee you, and I can speak for experience, you go towards her like that, saying, show me how you are for you. Let me see you for how you are. And hell is one of those divines that if you ask her for help or to just be there, she will be there. Even if she just stands there or if she's just in the space, it doesn't matter. If you need her, she'll be there. Will she do something? She might not. She may or may not. But just like Satanas, in terms of how he gives you guidance and advice, she's really realistic and practical and prioritizes survival. She's all about survival. And if you see, one of her hands isn't there. And I received a doll like this. And because it was made in Brazil, handmade, hand painted, hand sculpted, and all of that. When the guy sent me it, and I opened it up, I mean, I was like, oh, I couldn't contain myself. I got over the giddy. And then when I showed him I got it, he was all terrified, just like, oh my gosh, the hand's missing. The hand's missing? Oh, look at that. And he was sincerely apologizing and was like distraught over it. And he said that he would make me another statue, all free of charge, send it for free, just another one. And I could have taken it. But instead, all that I said was this. Come here. Instead, I said, I like it this way. In fact, I'd rather it be like this. Because in reality, that was a test. That was a test. Am I going to accept it for how it is? Even though it's not perfect, am I going to accept it for how it is? No matter what? Of course. And that's one of the ways she tests people. She tests people by saying, well, it's not perfect to you, and it's not perfect at all. Are you still going to accept it for what it is, how it is? Because deep down, everybody has ugliness. And I mean, I told him, like, I'd rather it be like this because it shows that in order to understand what is perfect, you need to understand what's imperfect. And also, funny enough, this statue, whenever I've moved, actually moved places where I lived, this was the last thing to be loaded. And whenever I drove or moved, this doll was like in my lap. Like Like I can't even describe how like overly protective I was of this doll. Well, Isabel, that could be a sign that you're probably maybe experiencing something deep down is finally being allowed to be expressed without judgment. Because when you're able to understand that real beauty is acceptance of something else, regardless of anything. Because at the end of the day, everyone has something ugly about them. Everyone. Even if it's something that's supposed to be seen as good, like being overly successful, that can turn into arrogance. Or something that's ugly and not pleasing to look at. Come to find out, those that are abandoned and pushed to the side and not wanted, the minute they get someone that appreciates and cherishes them, they will hold on to that person who appreciates them for dear life. Because the minute you give something that's been abandoned a sense of security and safety, they will go tooth and nail for it. Well, Nightshade, well, here's a take-home homework challenge for you then. Go towards hell and see how she goes towards you. See what happens. Because I can guarantee you, she will just go to you and just tell you, she will ask you, why do you think you're ugly? Besides, are you you? Are you a human? In a way, she does have the same acceptance as Nyx does, as seeing every human being as a person that has that should have which word am I looking for? She feels that everybody should be entitled to have the opportunity to be given care when they are wanting it and needing it. But if they don't want it and they don't need it, especially if they don't want it, she won't give it to them. But if they want to better themselves and take care of themselves, she's an option. But they have to make the choice on their own. And funny enough, hell, of all the divines, essentially, when it comes to like having like authority over the dead, in a way, hell does probably have, if not one of the strongest pulls out of all of them. But she doesn't abuse it. In that regard, save for an very clever of you. And I just love it when that happens because now, this thing just turned off. And I like how just magical things happen all the time, but still. Now I just lost what I was going to say. Oh. With Hel, she, believe it or not, was given a full authority over the dead by Odin, the Allfather. And like as I was saying earlier, if a Valkyrie is taking someone to Valhalla, if she wanted to, being given that full authority over the dead, she could just tell it, drop it. And yeah, they would have to drop it because Odin gave her the authority over the dead completely. Full authority. If it's dead, she can take it if she wants to, but she doesn't. Because she understands that having the opportunity to abuse a right, she doesn't abuse it. And having that sense of control of the self to understand, why am I going to do that? I'd rather just take care of the people that I'm given naturally. Because if she wanted to, anybody who has died, if she wanted to, she could just take them if she wanted to. Even if it's someone like a like also with Balder, she got him. But then again, that was natural. Even though to be technical, it should have been. Actually, that's a hard thing to. Well, it was an accidental murder. But still, she doesn't abuse her right and obligation that she's been given by Odin. And at least how I look at it, if Odin, no, not Odin, if there's like other faiths throughout the world, or like how there's like atheism, or like there's no belief on another religious side, those individuals she would get, kind of like by default, if that makes sense. Because she doesn't turn anybody away, if that makes sense. But the thing is, if they don't choose to go towards her when they pass away, even if they know it or not, what she does, she actually makes. It's very hard to describe it. I used to be able to describe it perfectly fine, but now my brain's going too fast. But she's somebody that, if there's somebody who needs a resting spot, she takes those in that need it. But now, one of the things that I get very touchy about, believe it or not, even though she is a death divine, she detests necromancy. She does not like it at all. And of course, necromancy being the magical art of actually working with the dead. Working with. And it's not going through a back door and just forcing and commanding the ancestors to walk again and do whatever somebody wants them to do for their game. No, 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 no. If I was to do that, I probably would be. I don't even know. I just know I would not be in a good spot. And just like how I've shared before, the way that I was taught by her, even regarding anything of the dead or interacting with the dead, it wasn't nice. And it was pretty much given to me in a way that was like, you're going to do it like this, and that's it. You're not going to do anything else. You're going to do it like this every time. If you don't, you're going to wish that you did, so that way you would not be having, And something as simple as even just like being in a cemetery, simply just stepping over somebody's like their space, like where their plaque is. If simply just stepping over that would make her just go, yeah, that would agitate her pretty much. Because she told me, if you're stepping over somebody's plaque of like their resting spot, you step over it, you're essentially saying that they are lower than you, and that you're just going to disrespect and just be over the top of them and just remind them that they're nothing and they can be easily stepped over. That's how she put it to me. And same thing, like if you're going to be bringing up the dead to work with or work alongside of them. I mean, I'm remembering it all at once. She pretty much stuck with So if you're going to bring up these people that used to be alive, you're going to bring them up? Okay. Now what happens when you're done with them? You think they just go back to the underworld like that? No, you bring them up, you take them out, you bring them back. You don't, you might end up like them. Except, gosh. And it's vital that somebody also understands that going towards the dead and the ancestors at all if you're going to be going towards them, it's important that you actually ask them first and actually build a bond between you and them first before actually doing magic workings with them. And especially too, if you're going to be taking cemetery dirt for whatever reason, for whatever kind of working, if you're taking it from a gravesite, not only do you have to ask, well, at least in my practice, not only do I have to ask Hell first, I also had to ask the person's or the passed on's permission. If she says yes, they say no, not doing it no more. But now if I'm going just to grab cemetery dirt that's in the cemetery, ask Hell, there we go. If that makes sense. Because there's like there's like a huge thing, like step procedure that I have to follow. And I mean, I follow it every time. If I'm going towards the cemetery, like actually going to it, I ask Hell before I even leave, could I go there? If she agrees and says that I can, there I go. At the gate, I don't go any further. I stop and then I ask, could I enter? I'm at the cemetery, may I enter it? I just asked if I could, like, actually go towards the cemetery. I didn't say I could go in yet. Like she could literally mess with me and say, yes, you can go to the cemetery. Now, nope, you can't enter it. And if she says that, okay, well, I can't go into the cemetery and I can't go in, so I'm going to go back home. She could just simply change her mind, and usually some people would look at that like saying, you're going to let a deity do that to you? Well, for one thing, it's kind of hard to disrespect a deity that kind of stopped you from killing yourself. At least for me. And I kind of cannot do that. I can't disrespect that. Because, yeah, if it wasn't for her, I would not be right here. I wouldn't be. And that's just putting it for how it is. And it's not out of letting her do that for giggles. It's still putting it into a high regards of like deep respect that I have towards her, that I kind of don't have for any, that I don't have a deity that's up, or an entity that's at the same level. Because when there's something that saves you from ending your life and also preventing something terrifying and just something I don't even want to think about happening to somebody else that's important to me, that kind of deserves that give the recognition of like, okay, I'm gonna be given this being my best, and I don't even know how to even speak appreciation because I don't even know how to say it. Okay, because she did prevent so much from happening that could have just have happened. I mean, she didn't have to step in and tell me to get up. Except it was much louder, and oh, I'm kind of shaking like on the inside after saying it like that. Oh my gosh. But I mean, I have to say, I don't even know how to say it because I don't know how to express it. When you have a deity that actually steps in for you when you can't step in for yourself and do for yourself and put yourself first, and you can't even, if you can't fight for yourself against yourself, but if you have a deity come in and step in and stand up for you against your darkest shadow spot. Oh, Tammy's back here. If you have a deity stepping in for you and telling yourself that you need to get up, you need to stop this, or you really are not gonna, or you're really gonna experience the true quote unquote death as a symbolic term. Because really it was. During those 6 days, I mean, I was really thinking about making a, and I'm still am, it's just I'm trying to figure out how the heck I would do that. I'm actually really thinking about making like a short film and actually having it be about, I don't know, if it would be like a reenacting, because it's based on a real event that's being played out again, but I don't want it to actually be like, I hope you know what I'm trying to say, like trying to make like a short film showing exactly what had happened. And I mean, if you've on my Instagram too, um, yeah, there. I remember posting. I think it was the. I think it was the beginning of this year where it was. I think it was like a short video of me looking down on the phone and it said 14 days, and then after a while of it shortly playing. You should, because really, the thing is, you don't know until you actually go towards them. Yeah, and I mean, it's. Uh, I'm not sure if I have my Instagram linked, but like on my YouTube channel page, if you want to look it up, I believe it's Brendan under dash snowball under dash 2010. If you follow it, then you should, or if you look at it, you should see a video. There should be a total of 3 of them. The first one, you'll see having 14 days. Like, and it starts playing like this thing of me looking at a phone, and then I just drop it. And then there's another one where I kind of put on a like warning saying, warning, it's going to be very loud. Hey, but the thing is, Nightshade, they're not your awareness. They have their own awareness. If something has an awareness of its own, it can have its own thoughts, it can have its own feelings, it can act on its own terms, and it can have its own opinions and say, just like another person. Another person can think for themselves too the same way. You may be thinking that, but because since that awareness has its own thoughts, feelings, and viewpoints, in a way, the thoughts that you have, hi Claudia, the thoughts that you have might be kind of not allowing them to actually have a say and think, but how do you know I don't like you? You haven't even spoken to me. You're going to assume that I think you're annoying when you haven't even spoken to me? How can I have my opinion if I don't even talk to you or you even come towards me? How can I have an opinion of something if I don't even know how you are or how you think, how you act, how you believe? Same. But then the next one was actually a clip saying, warning, the sound is like really loud. Actually, I think if I can, I'm gonna try. I think I can do this. What I'm gonna do, I think I have. Okay, let's see if I go like this. Hopefully it'll let me in. Oh, Kinkerdoodle, it did. It did! Let me see if I, okay, there's that one. That one there. Yeah, there's that one. Then, yeah, there's that one. Yeah, I think that one has 2. Yeah, that one has 2 attached to it. But yeah, actually, never mind. There was actually 4. See, is there any way to make it like full screen? Of course not. That would be too easy. But yeah, this, and usually like every year in January, I kind of like have that week of like admiration, but this is like, yeah, come on. Really? Things agitating me a little bit. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Sit still. Yep. Darkest blessings as always, Kendra. This was the clip, by the way. Wait a minute. How come there's no sound? This is not supposed to be how. Oh, oops, no wonder. Here we go. No, not that one. That's actually a book a friend of mine made. And actually, believe it or not, that's actually kind of close to what had happened. Yeah. Because this. Now, this is where, like I said, warning, it's going to be loud. I'm just fine, do it this way. Come on, dude. You had one job, dude. This way. And essentially what that was essentially the point where before I was actually going to be, ending myself. And like when that, like at that very, like that big shriek in the beginning, yeah, that was kind of like the last bit of like her telling me to get up or I'm going to die. Let's see, right, kind of like. Yeah, I kind of timed it right, like after she was saying die at the end. And yes, I don't know if you can tell, but yes, that's me right there looking up. It's hard to see because when it was hard to see because at the time I was in a place that was completely pitch black dark, so I kind of had to like make some adjustments to that. But now probably the part that's the most emotional because the next thing I'm going to show is actually like legit what happened afterwards after I was able to stand back up. Because if I went through, it would have been in vain. Because not knowing to me, this would have all been in vain if I'd ended my life. And now this is what happened. 30 minutes afterwards, after I stepped back up, it's not in the same place, obviously, but still. getting back up, and yeah, this is what happened.
Alright, let me know when you're done. Thank you. Bye.
Keep in mind, the reason why that I went through that period of, yeah, the 6 days of being really just barbarically cruel and just tormenting myself, I thought my other half was dead. I thought he was dead. Come to find out,
Alright, let me know when you're done. Thank you. Bye.
true story. That is almost exactly, it's not the same words, but yeah, full on. I thought he was dead, but he wasn't. And hell stopped me. I don't know about you, but there's nothing that deserves my full respect except hell. Because if it wasn't for her, I would have been dead, and then he would have to live for the rest of his life knowing I'm dead. I don't think there's anything else that can actually compete with that. True story. Thought he overdosed. Somebody texted me that he was dead. I thought he was dead. That it was my fault that I didn't do the best that I could to not have that happen. So for 6 days, I tormented myself. Literally crushed myself. Verbally, physically, emotionally. Just completely tore myself to shreds. And then before I could actually inflict the last blow, hell came in and stopped me. Got back up, washed myself up. 30 minutes later, I took a picture, which was the one that I showed in like one of the clips. The one that was saying like about 29 days later. And yeah. And then I got a message on Snapchat from his account. This figure, that's me. But still. I got a message off of his Snapchat. It wasn't exactly what was said. It wasn't like the actual same words. Close enough. Knowing that he was okay. And alive. And keep in mind, I thought he was dead. And I didn't want to be on the earth again anymore without him. But then getting confirmation that he was okay and alive and well from him, well, okay. It doesn't get any more clear than that. And it doesn't, I don't even know how else to put it. Because if you're believing that your significant other is dead and you don't want to be on the earth anymore, but when a deity makes the choice on their own to come to you and tell you to get up, or you really are going to be dead, and you get back up, and then you accept the fact that, well, it's not a picture, it's actually a clip. I can get it back on. But yeah, this clip is kind of showing somewhat what happened afterward after hell got me to stand back up, and I washed myself. And I got all the blood and all the snot and all that off me. And now keep in mind, that's like, it's not the same location, obviously, but a small clip of the realization that I could have been dead. and then it would have been in vain.
Alright, let me know when you're done. Thank you. Bye.
Literally. It's even moving me right now. The realization that I could have been gone, and then he would have to live with knowing that I'm done. I'm gone. And I know he cannot do it. I know he cannot do it. That's the fact. Because of that, hell made the choice on her own to stop it. Yeah, because that, you can't really see it because of just how this stupid computer is. But yeah, that's me. So it's this one. If you notice, like right here, that's me. And that's supposed to be a clip of when hell actually came in and stopped me from almost ending my life in vain. When she came to stop me, and he told me to get up, because I would have been dead if I didn't get up. And my significant other would have to live for the rest of his life without me. And that's when this part came in, after I stood back up.
Alright, let me know when you're done. Thank you. Bye.
And I can kind of guarantee this. I can bet you there has not been any, like barely, if not rarely, anything that can come close to that. I can kind of also even say, point blank, I don't even think there has been incidents like this when Christ has come down and stopped someone like this. I haven't even heard of many incidences like this. But if hell can do it, and there are some that say that she's this horrible, cruel divine, I can tell you this: she's not cruel, and she doesn't neglect, and she doesn't give false hope, and she actually saves everyone. And even keep in mind, I didn't even know she existed until she did this. And to be point blank harsh, it really don't matter how long or what other religious figures say. This is the fact. This is what happened. I remember, and I know. And I don't make this, and I'm not making this up, because how can someone make up something like this? And people can dispute, like, trying to debunk it all they want. That's cute. Because if someone's trying to debunk somebody's almost near suicide attempt, and being told that there was nothing there to stop you, you made the choice to get up, well, then put it this way. We'll put you in a situation where your significant other, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whomever close to you, will put you in a situation of that they overdosed and they're dead. And then we'll see what you do. And we'll see how you handle it. If you break down, no, sorry, we don't feel any remorse for that. Because you're disproving mine, so I have to disprove that. They do. And specifically, I have to say, probably hell probably cares and gives more concern than God himself. in Christ. Because hell, she doesn't turn anybody away. She doesn't. God and in Christ and the Abrahamic stuff, they have certain things that have to be met to be accepted. Hell doesn't have any of them. You're a person, good enough for her. If you're human, that's good enough. You don't have to like her. You don't have to. You can even despise her. She'll still open the door for you. You don't even know how to believe in her. She'll still open the door for you. Because she doesn't have motive attached to it. That's just saying for how it is. When you have somebody open the door for you that you don't even know them, and they don't have a motive attached to it, and they're allowing you to come in, yes. More than likely, that's probably it to the left, like right here. Like to where my head's moving. Like it's going this way. Probably like right there. And yes, I'm pretty close and like attached to her. Because I have to be. Because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here. Oh, my arm's getting tired. And I'm not sure if I have another one anywhere, but probably not because that thing's loaded indefinitely. Yep, it's true. That is correct. No, 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 no. I'm not talking about Lilith. I haven't even spoken about Lilith. Just understand. Yes. I don't say Lilith has, besides, to be technical, every spirit and every divine has motive. Everything that can have awareness has a motive to accomplish. Yes. Hell is Nordic. Although she does have similarities with Lilith, because Hell is a crone, just like Lilith. Hell is a crone goddess, because she's over the dead, and the dead is part of the last part of cycle, of like the life cycle. And believe it or not, in order for you to have the life that's around right now, you need to have the dead hold it up. Because if you don't have a strong foundation, nothing can be built on top of it. It'll always fall. And the dead are the foundation. You need to have the dead. And symbolically, when you have the elders, when they pass away, they become the dead. They become what nourishes the new. You need it. Don't shun it. You shun away the dead. Well, just look at it this way. Lilith is a goddess, a divine that does what she likes. She's all about empowering the self. So her motive is to always empower herself. Make sure that she feels in her power all the time and not let anything get in the way. She does what she has to do for herself, which in reality, somebody and everybody has to do that. They have to put themselves first in order for anything else outside of them to grow. To be technical. And it's not, and I'm not trying to like trying to be like overpower what you're saying, Jeremy, because no, that's not the point. The point is I'm trying to kind of help make it more like widen it up, so that way you can kind of see other things that are what the real intention is. If that makes sense. I'm not trying to be like saying like, "Oh, you're wrong." No, 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 no. If I was acting like that, I expect it to be slapped. It's just I'm trying to make sure that the awareness of it is like as open as it can, and that way it can be seen as clearly as possible. Because I'd rather have the knowing and the knowledge and the knowing, the knowledge, and the full awareness be there. But there are some things that I can't say for sure. All that I know is I can say the best that I can for how it is. But other things, just like how she goes towards somebody else, that I have no room in. Because it's her making the choice, her making her say. But at the end of the day, my real intention is really to come on here and show people how it is and the real truth about it to an extent. And then to the point where it's between them and the divine, like how it is between me and hell. That part I can't say. I cannot say because I'm not the other person. And I can't speak for the other divine. I can give suggestions and ideas what you can do to potentially help build it. That's as far as I can go. But I can't say like, well, hell told me to tell you this. No, that I cannot do because I'm not her. What she tells you may be completely different from what she tells me, even about the same subject. And also another thing too, because I think this is what she's wanting me to let the pop in and let it be known. Not all underworld are infernal. Hi, Kayla. Just because it's in the underworld doesn't mean it's infernal. And believe it or not, Helheim, it's best put it, it's just like Earth, but like a giant soup kitchen. Everybody there gets fed. Everybody has a place to sleep. Everybody has places to be cared for. It's not even attached to. It's not attached to infernal at all. In fact, again, Hell's a neutral goddess. She doesn't even want to partake in Ragnarok. But the only reason why she is because she's being forced to choose a side. But because since she rather not, and since she has to choose, she chooses her side with her father Loki, because she has to choose. If she wanted to, she would just say, I don't want anything to do with this, get me out of this place, I'd rather just tend to my dead. That's what she would choose, but she can't. And also, the Marvel movie, that is definitely nowhere. In fact, it's kind of like, really? No. No. Oh, it's already evening for you? Wow. Wow, it's already 4. Dang. I've been talking for like over almost an hour. Holy snapple. Just make yourself poisonous, that's all. Anyway, yeah, I'm probably going to be signing off too because my phone is about to die. It just screamed at me. So I'm going to end it here, and I hope you guys learned something. And I'll see you probably later. And the tarot readings, they'll be coming out soon. I have them all filmed and everything.